I have a lot of people ask me to do the PI swaps. A lot of you guys have probably watched YouTube videos. People have probably told you false information. There's a lot of info out there. Some of it is good, some of it is bad. So I'm going to start out with the differences in the intakes. A lot of you guys know that the older style, 92 to 95, comes with a plastic style intake. You can see how small the journals are here. So you run it, and you also have this little passageway here where they don't seal up good if you put them on the newer style, 97, 96, 97. This style here has the O-ring gaskets with the same style ports. We call these teardrops in the 4.6 world. These right here are a completely different gasket set than that. You have to put RTV in these little ports, these little pins right here. You have to put RTV in these if you want to take a motor from this style gasket to run the O-ring style intake on it. So with that being said, this one here, you can see how those journals are different from the other ones. So with the PI, hey Chris, can you help me for 2 seconds? This is a non-PI intake. Let's see, let me look at this. No, this is a PI intake that I have in my right hand, and the one Chris is holding up here, this is a non-PI. Hold it flat where they can see the face. You can see that this journal right here is in the front. You see this? This is cylinder number 5, driver's side. This cylinder is in the front, and this one here is the second one. You see how it's the first cylinder number 1 is the first one on the passenger side there. You see what I'm saying? You guys see it? This is a PI motor. So if you're hunting a PI motor for the heads and the intake, this is what you're after. Another way to tell is the depth of the body on the bottom side. You can see how much taller this one is. One other way to tell, without trying to get to the casting numbers, is you can look down inside the valley in your coolant tube that runs down on the inside of the valley on the PI will go back in hard 90 straight up the head and run across the top side because of how deep this is. If it's a non-PI, it'll run straight back. The coolant tube runs straight down the valley. So that's how you know those two apart. On a PI swap, you have to take the PI intake with the heads. You cannot do any other intake because they will not line up. You can clearly see how big those are. Hold that one back up for 1 second. You can clearly see how big those are compared, flip it all the way over, to that. Those are non compared to PI. It's a big difference. In the Chevy small block world where a lot of us started, this is Corvette heads compared to stock set, right? So that's the best way to explain that. There's differences in the alternators. You got 3 wires, you've got 2 wires. You've got 3 different style plugs that I know of. There's also 3 different style brackets. I have a different style bracket right here. You can see how those bolts don't line up. So whenever you pull, say you go to the junkyard and you pull an intake, try to keep all your stuff together, even the mass airflow, because it makes that big of a difference. So that's that. There's different style pulleys. I just hurried up on Thursday when I was leaving the shop and grabbed a bunch of stuff. But here's 2 different style pulleys. You can see this one's got a bolt welded on it where we had a manual fan on it. So that tells me that was probably a 95 to 96, somewhere in there that had a manual fan on it. This is a non-manual fan. So this one here only came with electric fan. But there's 2 different style pulleys. As we all know, different motor mounts. 03 up takes a completely different motor mount. All 4.6s are the same block. You just switch your motor mount. If you wanted to put a 98 or down motor in an 03 up, just switch your motor mount to the 03 up. They bolt right on. There's 3 different style throttle cables that I know of. This is off an older one that I'd kept and had on the shelf, so I grabbed it just to remind myself to talk about it. But this is the spring type, like the old style 5.0s. This is on your aluminum style intakes. There's 3 different styles that I know of these. So once again, keep this stuff together. It's not a bad idea to throw this stuff on the shelf and keep it. This is 2 types of hard gaskets. They both have the pin style in them. Some of the heads that you'll run into, especially in the PIs, won't have the spot for the pin, so you can trim these if you want. And you can use RTV up in the corners. I can send you guys pictures of how I do them to seal them. I'm more than willing to do that if you ask, if you're doing one. You'll put RTV in 2 of the corners to hold it. And you'll also put RTV in the holes in the heads where these go if you're putting an O-ring intake on it, or it will not seal. That O-ring will sit on there and it'll suck air the whole time. You'll hear it whistling. And it'll sound like you got a big cam in there because it's getting a vacuum leak. So it'll sound cool, but it won't run very good. This is the style for the old style intake that has a little passage in there to go from cylinder to cylinder to keep the flow even. I have 2 different style mass airflows here. You got the old aluminum style, you got the huge plug on it, and then you got the new style with the small plug, the plastic style, which this style here also has the aluminum body, as you can see, but it has the new style plug. So Ford don't leave nothing alone. Here's also 2 different style air temperature sensors. You can see this style that's like a barrel plug. And then you got the style that a lot of us run on our newer stuff, the little small gray one. This just has to read air temperature. You really don't even have to have it. It just likes to have it so it knows what air temperature is so it can adjust for its fuel. On these time and chain sets, every time and chain that I've ever changed has been the same. I keep these from junky motors that have good time and chain tensioners, because if anybody's priced a set of these, they're outrageous. This is like gold right here. I think they're like $300 at the parts house. And I don't put nothing junk in there, so when I open these up, if I can keep something that's, you know, Motorcraft or something that's of a good value name, I keep them. But these are very simple to change. If anybody ever runs into problems with these, I'll be more than happy to tell you. You don't need chain or cam holders or nothing. I can show you how to do it without all that. We could do one out here literally in the lot. If you buy a good time and chain set, it'll come with marks on the chain like this. If you ever buy a time and chain set and it don't have a silver link or a painted link, it's probably not a very good time and chain set. It might get you through a couple derbies, but once it gets hot, it's probably really going to start stretching, or the tensioners are going to give out. Anybody that's did a time and chain knows what these marks are for. It's what sets your timing. It should be top and bottom straight across from each other. So it's really that easy. I can show you how to do that over the phone, video chat, whatever you'd like. When you PI swap a motor, you can keep your time and chain cover for that motor. But if you wanted to put the PI style on there, one of the bolts won't line up. I believe it's this one right here. You just don't worry about it. Just put RTV on it and put it together. That's how I do them. It's fine. I got a car I drive on the road. It's that way. Never had a leak. It's literally doing nothing. So, but if you run into that, don't freak out. There's also 2 different style crank sensors of the plugs. They look exactly alike, but they will not plug in together. And the same on the cam sensors on the driver's side head. There's 2 different styles. They will not plug in together. What else? What else, Chris? Oh, this is very valuable. If you have a 96 to, I don't know, I guess 2011, this little bracket right here, this goes on your driver's side fuel rail by where your brake booster and everything is. I highly suggest keeping these and putting them on your motor. You'll have to have the longer bolt that goes with it because it goes all the way down into the head, but this protects your fuel rail. We had a guy in my hometown last year. The 4.6s are highly competing with the motor swap builds in my area. So they're taking them till they're nosed up all the way. They knocked the fuel rail off. This is a factory fuel rail protector that goes on a 4.6 You'll see them if you start paying attention. It literally goes right in the back. Like that. And it protects the whole back of that fuel rail where it's going to hit the firewall, where like a Crown Vic, a bulge, and you know how it's got that big dimple, it pushes it right into it when the car noses. What else can I talk about, Chris? I have computers out there for sale. I forgot to grab one. We're trying to give that used car away, but there's 3 different styles computers from 91 to 04, and then 05 up. There's 2 different styles that I know of right now. But this is the older style, the light gray, and then they go into dark gray. So this, anytime you see this, this is an EDIS computer. Takes that little computer brain box. I think that's about it. Does anybody have questions for me? Don't be shy, ask questions. If I have an answer, I'll give you one.
What's the difference in between the timing tellers from a PI to a...
Nothing, just that one bolt in the block. They're the same, but like when people put a motor together, they might take
Taking the 97 block and then...
Yeah. If you keep your timing cover for your motor, you're fine. One other way to tell a PI motor is the oil filler cap will be all the way in the front on the valve cover. I think it's on the driver's side on a PI. One thing with these PI, with the 03 ups too, what I highly suggest everybody to do is take these fuel rails from 98 to 02 where it has a return, get rid of this electronic fuel pressure regulator. This is very dangerous in my opinion because you're deadheading this whole fuel system. If your car dies on the track, you're deadheading it. You're sitting there pumping, you know, a lot of us straight wire pumps, so that's just 12 volt going to that pump, sending max pressure, so with nowhere to go. These fuel rails will switch right out with 98 to 02s and you'll have your return port right here. You'll just run your line right behind it like it would be on that intake. You can leave your injectors and stuff. If you do switch it from 98 to 02, you'll have to change your injector because the plug will be different. But everything will go right back into this intake. I don't know what else to talk about.
If you have a PI engine,
yeah.
is it worth it just to run that or swap it to the...
They're actually less horsepower in stock form.
You switch because you get swapping the heads.
Yep. When you take an older block, it's a high compression bottom end. You put the bigger heads on it, you're building a Corvette motor from the small block guys. I had something I was going to say, but I don't know what it was.
When you do that, do you need a tune?
No.
No.
Nope.
Okay, another question is, I was talking to you about, we did PI swap, car did, and then all of a sudden it just wouldn't idle, but we changed it. It was a Lincoln setup, and then I changed to a 96 Crown Vic computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen somebody say something about the transmission.
Yep.
Do I need to change some wiring?
It depends on what year that PI. So the question was, is that you got an 03 up motor in training, and or what are you doing?
Okay, so I left the wiring harness for the 97 on there.
Mm-hmm.
But my concern is on the transmission. We only ran it for about 5 minutes or whatever out on the block, but going from a 96 Crown Vic computer to a 97 Lincoln Town Car transmission, do we need to change any wires?
No, you shouldn't. That should be exactly the same, yeah. But if you have a newer style training, you would have to repin all that. Yeah, that's a good question. One other thing with the PI swap, take the PI head cams and everything, do the whole swap. Don't try to match that because those cams are designed for those heads to give them maximum performance. Another thing that I'm going to get into and I'm going to start doing some topics on is the F-150 aluminum intakes. They stand a lot taller. They're made to breathe a lot more. So if you take the PI heads with the F-150 intake, and they also have a metal port where we break these off. On F-150, it's in the front, and that hose runs around. It's got like a big port in the front. So I'm messing with those now. It might be a fail, but I don't see how it could be because they're running them F-150s. So, but it's all aluminum intake too. So something to think about, something to dig into. If you're at a scrap yard, grab one. Try it with me.
What year trucks are they?
Like 2000 models, yeah. The trucks had PI motors before, and I can get you those years. I'd have to research it. I don't know the exact years off the top of my head. I'm learning a lot of this stuff. I've been digging into these for a while, and I don't know everything. So a lot of guys teach me stuff. I seen a guy today that had a water neck completely turned around backwards and running a hose where he could run a Ford radiator. Never seen that, but it works. He literally took the whole water neck, turned it around backwards. I had one of those up here. If you guys didn't know it, I just realized last week that there's two different style water necks, that one turns it toward the middle of the car and one turns it toward the outside. So if you're gonna run a manual fan, you can switch that upper water neck to the one that turns it to the outside if you don't already have one. It bolts right in the top. I thought I had one, probably at the trailer. When we were putting the manual fan set up on that youth car, we have one that's facing the fan, and I was digging through a box and I found one that's facing the other way, and I didn't have time to put it on there, but that is an option. Here's one right here. See how this one turns out to the outside? It turns away from the fan. A lot of them, this one's probably stuck. Yeah, there it is. There you go, exactly. So that one there, see how it turns to the outside? There's two different styles. I've never noticed that in the whole time I've been messing with these. But that car, we're getting ready to sell a fan adapter that will allow you to put a manual fan on any 4.6 without having to change the pump or anything. I can tell you a mistake that we had. We had a BMW plastic reverse style fan because our water pumps turn in reverse, so that limited us on what fans we can run. We had a BMW style. I thought, those RPMs would be fine for a 4.6, right? They go way higher than what we can. I had a buddy stop by the shop. We've revved this thing up a million times. I had a buddy stop by the shop, and he's a big hot rod guy and got turbos on everything. So I was like, well, watch this. So I give it everything it had. When I did, that fan exploded, that plastic one. Pieces of it are in the ceiling, pieces of it hit him in the face. Didn't hurt him real bad, just cut him just a little bit. But so now we're running a metal fan on this youth car this weekend with our adapter. With that being said, this is the water neck that I should have had, but I didn't know that this was even existed. So I don't know what years these come on. This is a PI intake, so it might just be the PI cars that have them. Anybody have any more questions? My girlfriend's probably about ready to kill me out there running the booth by herself for an hour.
When I get home tonight, I'll look at the other three and see what I think is good.
Yep.
I'll send you a text.
Okay, thank you. Yep. Yeah, this one here come off of, I believe this is a PI motor, so this is probably like an 05 or 06, somewhere in there. It wasn't a flex fuel motor, it's just a regular PI.
That's another thing. Okay, so PI swap, and you want to run E85 in it.
Yep, you need to do the 08 to 11 style motor if you're going to do that, because of the dome pistons and stuff that are factory in it. If you're going to try to run like E85 or anything in there, I would suggest that. And we went down that road with a flat top piston motor, and it didn't perform very good. We actually ended up pulling it apart. Yeah. And we do have the 05 up wiring harnesses coming out, so that's coming soon, and it will require some tuning on the computer. So I'll have a lot of information out on that. That's coming. We are getting it patented, and that's the holdup. Everybody in here in this room probably knows why. But a lot of time and effort goes into this. I spend a lot of money having people strip cars and help me gut cars, so it takes time away from me so I can work on the harnesses, for somebody just to copy it and go right behind me. But it's coming out, that way you can run E85 on 11 with my harness, so there's no work there. If you look up these PI style motors, like I told you, they're actually less horsepower. But when you actually drive one, they feel like they got twice as much, but they're not. I don't know why that is, but.
The torque numbers are higher on
Yeah, the low end torque. Yep, the low end torque is a lot better. If you notice on a PI2 with a gear, they tack out really fast. Where like a 9802 or down, it take it a little bit to get there, but once it's there, it'll sing all day. My favorite motor, I like the 9802s, but my favorite motor is the old style, like 97 down. My favorite combination is a 97 with a 96 computer off of a Lincoln. If you're gonna run it in stock form, if you gotta tune it, don't matter.
Can you tune those computers also?
Slade's car last year that was here had a really hot tune on it.
I didn't know, I thought you could tune the old ones, there was ones that you couldn't tune.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to take two systems and put them together to be able to do it. I know one thing else to talk about on our fuel cells, we use a factory style pump. A lot of people try to run the F-150 pumps and I get a lot of stuff. It might work this time and then they start having trouble, right? That pump is designed to run that car on its every day. If you wanted to drive it to Florida, that's the pump that should be in that car. And I try to keep these 4.6s that way. I've eliminated a lot of the vacuum lines. I can tell you what you don't need, what you do. A lot of the stuff we unplug, you don't need, right? But a fuel pump, I've tried every style pump. I started out with the F-150 pump because I ran 302s, 50s with a big intake. So that's what I had when I started messing with these. And when I would hold that car wide open, say try and push somebody up on the bank or whatever, or on the blocks, it just died when I let out of it. That's my favorite style pump. I ain't trying to sell my stuff. I'm just saying if you are gonna do this car and you want to go the long haul when it's hot or whatever, run a factory style pump in it. It's gonna perform the best. I think that's about it. You think of anything to talk about? If you guys ever have issues or anything, message me. My phone blows up. I had 53 messages since we've been in here while Casey was talking. Just text messages, but I will get back to you. I usually answer you when I get home or when I'm shutting the shop down, making sure that nothing's on fire, nothing after I've been welding. I always stop and wait, 30 minutes or so and before I leave. But I usually answer a bunch of texts back, and I'm sorry if it's late. Go ahead.
Is there an easy way to tell the difference between an F-150 fuel pump and a Crown Vic fuel pump?
Yeah, the F-150 would be in line.
Oh, it's,
I'm talking about the inline ones that people were running.
That's back in the 90s, right?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. An F-150 of the newer style should be something similar. Yeah. It's going to be running a 4.6, so it should be fine.
The fuel cell I bought is supposedly has an F-150 fuel pump in it.
Yep.
I was thinking I needed
Nope,
a
it's
fuel
fine.
pump.
Nope,
It's not.
it should be fine. Yes, sir.
Okay.
What gears do you guys run on a with a 23? Do you know?
97.
Right now,
What gear ratio?
I got a 456 in mine.
456.
I got 430 in mine.
My favorite is 488 with 23s. If I know the track's gonna be real small and it's gonna be a bag fest, I'll run a 513. If it's gonna big track like Bash or something, I'll do like a 456 or something. That way you can get it into second gear, keep the RPMs high on it.
With a 513 gear, can you use factory carrier?
No, you can the carrier. You gotta grind some of the teeth so the pin can go in and out. But I sell a diff cover to clear that 513 or a spacer plate that goes in behind it.
I don't know if you had a carrier brake in it.
It'll clear it'll clear it. Sometimes you run into where the casting ain't exactly the same and it'll rub just a little bit, but it comes right free, yeah. Yes, sir.
On I'm running a 10. Is there a way that you can run 23s in the back, a certain rim that'll let you keep brakes?
Yeah. A D hole, right? The Mazda wheels with the holes in them. They're 14s that come on like a 2000B 3300 or whatever. It's the same dish as a D hole. And any stock, if you guys follow me on Facebook, you just seen I was hunting 14-inch stock steels, like off of an 80s model Vic, they'll clear. And if you ever run into it barely rubbing, just throw a wheel center behind it and put your wheel on. It all depends on how thick your brakes are. If somebody actually took care of the car, the brakes are thick, so it rubs. But if they're about half wore, about bald like everything I run, it'll clear.
We always grind the hell out of the cow.
You don't have to do that. Just throw a wheel center behind it.
What's your opinion on 31 spline on the 98 2000?
I haven't did that yet. I've never tried to do it. I know that the 31 spline housings are a lot wider, so I wasn't sure how that would work.
Shorten the axles.
You got to cut them down.
Put the carrier and everything.
Got it.
You take the guts and get short, right?
Yeah.
You can have the axle reach spline.
Yeah. I've never broken axle in the spline. When I break it, it's always from tube flex. It breaks it like right in the middle, from the whole housing flexing down when you get hit. right in the middle. I've never broke one on the outside, but I've also ran the axle savers that I sell, so it never breaks on the outside.
31 spline, what's
Are they bigger?
diameter?
Are they bigger?
There's
I wasn't sure.
Explorer axles, right? At the 31 Explorer.
Yeah, 31 spline comes
Like,
with a 3 out.
Yeah, 05, 04, somewhere in there.
Wasn't there an Explorer that would be even more than 31?
No, they're 31.
35?
They're 31 spline.
I don't have any experience in that yet.
There's a heavy axle with 9 3/4 that's, I don't know what spline it is, it's a bigger axle.
Anything else?
Yeah, they're not in this conversation.
Huh?
I got a question about King.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys don't have anything going on Father's Day weekend, there's gonna be a really good street stock show at King of Ohio. It's gonna be good. I write my rules to where you can build a car, but it should be really, really good.
Are you letting your bumpers run in the team shed?
What bumpers?
The kits that you have that weld together? Because the rules say you can run the adepts, but I didn't know about.
Yeah, the TCJs that we carry. Yeah, you could run those there.
Okay.
King, you run full loaded.
Yeah, loaded bumper. Yeah. So the same. I'm gonna let a cat out of the bag, but the same. We're gonna have that same style show. Dustin asked if we do it at Bristol too. So, and I'm gonna load. And I'm gonna allow aftermarket bumpers there, and a lower cradle just on the motor for the motor mounts. I was trying to keep it. Ohio's a lot stocker than it is at my house, so I was trying to keep it stock style. And once I did that and released the rules, everybody wanted lower cradle. Everybody wanted lower this, just to mount the motor like the 03 ups, right? So. Just trying to protect people's motors for that.
Bristol's a long way to run from here.
Huh?
Yeah, Bristol.
Yeah, it's 2 hours here. I think it's like 5 from the house, so about 6 hours. Yeah. Be a good show though. I couldn't imagine being in a car and driving through that gate. Once in a lifetime opportunity. I don't know what payout or anything will be, but you'll see it out. Dustin asked me to do my rules there, so we'll see what happens.
Now, how do you get registration for that?
I don't know yet. He just messaged me. I was just letting the cat out of the bag on that. I'm going to do some rule changes. It won't be the exact rules as King. It's going to be almost exact with a couple little changes. And it's on blacktop. It'll be on blacktop, so it'll be neat to see people change their tires and whatnot and their suspension. I've ran for 30 years. I started when I was 10 years old, and I ran on blacktop twice. It's completely different than dirt. A lot of people think it hurts worse. It actually don't. You scoot.
Slide.
Yep, you slide. It's a lot more forgiving on your ball joints and stuff because you're sliding on it, especially when they wet it.
The best part about it, the car don't get dirty.
Yeah. My last one that I ran, I actually broke I broke the whole hub, like where it goes on the bearing. So everything stayed, but the hub came off. I still went for a long time. If you had that in dirt, you wouldn't be able to go. You'd be stuck. So drag it along, take it with you. So that's all I got. Thank you guys. You need anything, holler at me. Thank you.